Hello beloveds, my name is Evonne from Embody Mother and welcome to the cycle report for the 12th of March 2019. I come to you from Dja Dja Wurrung country in Central Highlands, Victoria, Australia in the Southern Hemisphere. So today we are about 1.5 weeks away from Autumn Equinox. And the vibe here on this land at the moment is, it feels like there is now this urgency to gather the harvest, the gathering the wood and everything that's going to nourish us for the winter to come. There's been a lot of drying of apples and a lot of preparing for, like the squirrel that's sort of running around gathering its nuts for the winter. But it feels like there's a new urgency this week to sort of keep going and push through, even though sometimes it feels challenging, physically challenging, especially to get out there and to do this work. But there's a necessity for that nourishment that's going to bring us for the winter. As you can see behind me, it's actually been raining here for the first time for a little while. Like, I feel like it's months, and it reminds me, I sort of touched on last week about Demeter and the story of Demeter, and how when she went into grief after Persephone was taken into the underworld, that she dried the lands, she wouldn't nourish the lands, and so it just dried out. But I feel today with the tears, the rain representing the tears of Demeter, is re-nourishing the land. And it sort of really started me thinking about how fucked up it is that over the years, the patriarchal sort of culture has really squashed, especially children, and crying and showing emotion through their tears, and how important that is, because it's a vehicle of, transformation. It's moving something through the body that it needs to come out clearly. And I've heard it before, how children are told to stop crying, or to, they're really quick to pick them up and shut them down. And, it just holds it all back into their bodies. And, as they grow older, they learn that way of, shedding tears for that nourishment back into the land, or nourishment for their own bodies through crying and tears, has been really squashed, and how that can't be good for the bodies. There's so much more to talk about that. I think, the idea of sacred tears, and how important it is to allow, feelings and emotions and crying to come out, because where else is it going to go? It's going to be stuck into the body, and that's when people get sick and, just bottle it all up. I feel like, that's the cancer that's coming up, no one's being allowed to express how they feel. So, from that sort of underworldy talk, we are now on a new crescent moon, so a waxing crescent, new moon. We have a 5-day moon, and just the other day I saw the first little crescent of it showing, bring forth, this is a great time to gather all the gold, all the seeds that we spoke about of that underworld and that dark moon. It really felt like an underworld space. If you caught my midweek dark moon sort of snippet on my perspective of the underworld, and it's gathering all those seeds and their gold to take them forth into this new moon cycle. And this is the time to bring it forth and to really be clear, I think, and conscious about how we are moving into this new moon cycle. Because as my teacher Jane Hardwicke Collings would say, that anything that happens at the start of a cycle sets the seeds for the rest of the cycle. So now's the time to really bring a beautiful consciousness as to what's happening around us, what are our thought patterns, what are we doing, and to bring that forth, and to really think, okay, what do I want to bring into this new moon cycle, and really bring some love and beautiful energy into it. and just watch it flourish. The full moon will be on the 21st of March, which is in a week and a half time, which is coincidentally autumn equinox here and spring equinox in the northern hemisphere. So, we've got this full moon illumination coming. So watch what happens between, bringing these beautiful conscious seeds from the dark moon into this new moon phase, and just watch them sprout. And, take note, because that's how we really start to embody this magic of the cycles, is really, watching the evidence of it flowing. It's such a magical process. And I am on day 10. So what that looks like for me is in my menstrual cycle, day 10. So just sort of reaching the peak of my ovulation is, that really feeling that pull of the autumn equinox to go, oh my God, we've got to gather the wood, we've got to, get ready for this winter to come. So my body has really been calling for the movement and, being really, physical in my actions and feeling fast, flighty actions, but, still very, very grounded, but the need to move quick and to, to do it, because I know in a couple of weeks' time when I'm moving into my descent that I probably won't feel like that. So this feels like a really crucial time for me, is to just prepare and to, make use of this body fluid forward movement that it's calling out for, and to put it to good use, and to gather. It's all I can think is wood, because we need that for our wood heater to keep us warm in winter, and without it, it becomes very expensive. So it feels good to be moving the body and to have the energy behind me of that, moving into that fullness and that ovulation to scurry and winter preparations. And also it feels good too with the movements, because it's this new moon, first waxing crescent moon, that it's like, it feels like a really strong sort of intention that I'm here nourishing my family and gathering the harvest and preparing for that. So it feels like a really great spell, actually. So that is this, and this is me, and this is that land. Just a couple of reflective red tent questions if you are called to do so. So what are the seeds that you have gathered from this dark moon period? What are you going to plant in this, first crescent? So I'll say that again, and I'm not sure whether I articulated that very well. What are the dark moon seeds that you gathered on this dark moon coming up for planting now under this first crescent moon? And also, what is your second harvest? What's rising up for this second harvest as we move into this autumn equinox second harvest? In the pagan terms would be called Mabon. So autumn equinox Mabon. So what is your second harvest sort of gatherings that you're taking with you into this next week and a half, and what's showing up? So wherever you are and wherever you're at in your cycle, or if you're not bleeding, the moon cycle, what intentions are you planting? I hope from my heart to your heart that they are fruitful and deeply nourishing and deeply, deeply loving, and know that you're always, always loved. So much love for me.